So welcome. There's a bumper first. So welcome to this press conference here called Waste Not, the Global Methane Pledge. Civil society calls for shift on climate financing for waste methane. So welcome to this Global Alliance for Incinerators press conference on how community-centered zero waste systems, policies and practices contribute to fast action on methane reduction in the waste sector, while ensuring just transition and an integration of waste pickers and others in the impacted communities. Joining me are members of the Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives, GAIA, a global network of grassroots and national organizations in 92 countries who are working together on waste and justice, and in particular organizing implementation of zero waste projects and advocacy work for methane reduction. So, welcome everybody. This is a press conference, so let's hear the news. First, let me introduce Anna Rocha, GAIA Global Plastics Director and Executive Director of Nipe Fagio, which is leading the work in making Zanzibar, on the east coast of Africa, the first zero waste archipelago in the world. Anna, please tell us about the zero waste model in Dar es Salaam and what effects it has had together with first Zanzibar. Thank you.
Yes. So we have a zero waste model in Dar es Salaam for 6 years now. That is a live example of how zero waste at the local level is fundamental for us to be able to reduce methane emissions and also achieve the Global Methane Pledge. Beyond that, that model also delivers the core benefits that people and the planet need. So the benefits go beyond the climate benefits.
Right. Very interesting indeed. And it's in Dar es Salaam, and Zanzibar as well is part of this?
Well, it's in Dar es Salaam, in Zanzibar, in Tanga, in Arusha, so in several places in Tanzania.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well done. Now we're going to introduce, or going to ask you another question, which is how many tons of methane emissions does this reduce per year?
Yeah, so in one neighborhood of Dar es Salaam, and we are talking about 4,500 households, we collect 1.74 tons of waste every day. We have a 95% segregation at source rate, so 95% of the people segregate the waste at source, and we divert 85% of all the waste from the landfill. So now that gives us a 16.4 methane reduction, tons of methane reduction a year. So, and that's one neighborhood of Dar es Salaam. So, Dar es Salaam has 565 neighborhoods. So, if you think about that impact in one neighborhood and you project the possible impact for the whole city, you can imagine how massive that is.
And briefly, in the past, before all this, they were just dumping the waste.
Before this, they were just dumping the waste, they were burning the waste. So we have a lot of open burning in Dar es Salaam because we don't have centralized waste management systems. What we end up having is each neighborhood dealing with their own waste on their own way.
Right. And the methane was just simply going into the atmosphere.
Yes.
It's a superheating gas which is more powerful than carbon dioxide. Yeah. So turning it off, it's a good thing. All right. Any positive ripple effects?
Well, many. From the model in Dar es Salaam, we now have models in Kenya, we have models in Ghana, we have models in Togo, so we have a Zero Waste Alliance in Africa. And all this zero waste work combined is actually extremely important for people at the local communities to be inspired and be able to replicate it further.
Okay, and your key message to the negotiators from the governments here at COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan?
Is definitely that we need to direct climate finance to the waste sector, because that's a low-hanging fruit that delivers benefits that go beyond climate. It also delivers benefits for people and for the planet, and we need to make sure that that money reaches the local implementers that are on the ground, that have successful models like the one that I just described in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, so that we can basically replicate that, and we can increase both the methane reduction and we can increase the benefits for people.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Stay with us, Anna. We also got Dr. Leslie Adogame. He's Executive Director, Sustainable Research for Action and Development in Nigeria. Dr. Adogame, or Leslie, I don't know how you like it, please tell us what your organization is about and what you're trying to achieve.
Yes, thank you very much. My organization is basically a professional non-governmental organization on the ground.
Microphone slightly higher.
We are basically into research, advocacy, and action on the ground. So we engage with policymakers to effect change on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Lagos is a participant in something called the Low M Initiative. Yeah. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Lagos basically is a center of excellence in Nigeria and is participating in the Low Methane Initiative. Mm-hmm. Interestingly, this is a very good development in Nigeria because Lagos has got about 22 million tons of unmanaged waste per day. Mm-hmm. So this is good, but again, the challenge is if the current option for which the government of Nigeria is looking at in terms of incineration is encouraged, then it's going to have a negative effect in the current possibility that is on ground. So we think this is not the way to go, and we should look at better options.
And of course, once you have incineration, you've got a technology that you're locked into, aren't you? I mean, you can't change. You've got to keep feeding the damn thing. So, absolutely. Let's ask another question to you, Dr. Adogame. What about climate finance for the waste sector? Is it supporting solutions, or is it just perpetuating problems?
Yes, we are here for COP finance. The COP finance is ongoing, and in terms of the finance system, is very insufficient for the sector. Why? Because the waste sector doesn't enjoy sufficient funding. The little funding that comes to that sector just goes to a few hands, is captured. Few people benefit from it. If you look at the waste pyramid, you will agree with me that in terms of economics of waste management, just few jobs. And Lagos, Nigeria, economics of employment is very key, and people really need to get jobs. So if you really look at it from that angle, you will see that yes, we are really challenged as far as that is concerned.
Right, so the double benefit of green jobs and also dealing with these emissions of methane in a more intelligent way. Yeah. Okay, going forward, key actions you want to see in Lagos from the government there and from the Nigerian government in general?
Well, basically, the key actions that we should be looking at is if we want to be able to resolve and solve the problem of the climate crisis, we would be asking the Nigerian government to refocus, not to look at the issue of incineration, because this is just not the right technology. A lot of investment has gone into the waste to energy technology. Rather, we should be asking the Nigerian government to focus on community-led, very successful ones for that matter, existing community-led zero waste initiatives, which are existing. They are far better and more sustainable than embracing the incineration technologies, which are not sustainable.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Stay with us. Our third speaker, Soledad, Mella.
Sí.
Okay, President of the National Association of Recyclers of Chile, and you speak beautiful Spanish. I don't speak beautiful Spanish. I speak English, and so we have an English translator. So thank you for being here.
Gracias.
Camila Aguilera, you're a program advisor for GAIA Latin America and the translator, so thank you. Okay, let's go. Soledad, you are a member of the Secretariat of the Regional Network of Waste Pickers of Latin America and a spokesperson of the International Alliance of Waste Pickers. Why are waste pickers so important?
Los recicladores existen en el mundo hace 150 años.
Waste pickers exist in the world. Waste pickers have been in the world for 150 years.
Mm-hmm.
Somos más de 20 millones de recicladores en el mundo.
We are more than 20 million around the world.
Y hemos trabajado en condiciones inhumanas por mucho tiempo.
And we have worked under inhuman conditions for many years.
Pero a pesar de todo eso, nos hemos hecho cargo de algo que nadie se ha querido hacer cargo,
But we have done a work that nobody has wanted to do.
que es recolectar estos residuos,
That is collecting waste.
que son tan importantes,
That are so important,
pero tan invisibles en
But-
términos climáticos.
but so invisible in climate terms.
Nosotros creemos que la importancia de los recicladores
We think that the importance of waste pickers
tiene que ver justamente que cómo nos hemos hecho cargo de algo que nadie se quería hacer cargo, dándole un valor agregado.
has to do with a job that nobody wanted to do.
Okay. In negotiations, discussions on well, everything, climate change, the green transition, often local voices and local wisdom and experience is overlooked. How can this be changed? And what are we missing when we do not listen to these voices?
Sí. Primero que todo, nosotros tenemos nuestra propia voz.
First of all, we have our own voice.
Nos hemos organizado a nivel global.
We are organized at a global level.
Tenemos una organización, alianza internacional de 54 países a nivel global.
We have an international alliance with 54 members around the world.
La forma de que se hagan cargo o entiendan a los recicladores de base,
The way that you can understand and know more about waste pickers
primero dignificando el oficio,
is, first of all, to dignify our jobs,
reconociendo que existimos,
to recognize that we exist,
pagando por lo que nosotros hacemos,
paying for what we do,
mejorando las condiciones
improving our job conditions,
y poniendo las inversiones donde realmente corresponden.
and putting investment when it's really where it's really needed.
Okay. And finally, just at this moment, is there anything we can learn from the history of this? Are things getting better or getting worse for waste pickers?
Sí. Hoy, en base a esta triple crisis planetaria,
Currently, due to this triple climate crisis,
hemos sido visibles.
we are visible.
Ya no somos los invisibles.
We are not the invisible ones.
Hoy tenemos voz.
Today we have a voice.
Pero irónicamente en esta COP
But ironically, at this COP,
hay solamente una recicladora,
there is only one waste picker,
yo,
and that is me,
Uh-huh.
hablando por 20 millones de recicladores.
representing 20 million waste pickers.
Creemos que hoy día tenemos una tremenda oportunidad,
We think that today we have a huge opportunity,
pero esa oportunidad tiene que ser gatillada desde nuestros estados.
but that opportunity needs the help of our governments.
Se debe reconocer la importante labor de los recicladores
Our important job needs to be recognized
y poner el lugar que corresponda.
and be set in the right place.
La contaminación por metano en el mundo,
Methane waste contamination,
nosotros los recicladores de base la podemos mitigar.
we can mitigate that,
Necesitamos infraestructura,
but we need infrastructure,
maquinaria,
machinery,
transporte
transportation,
e inversiones.
and investment.
Creer en nosotros, que lo hemos hecho 150 años,
You need to believe in us and a job that we have done for 150 years.
es parte de un cambio también de paradigmas.
This is also a part of a paradigm shift.
Okay.
Los hombres y mujeres más pobres del planeta
We are the poorest ones in the world,
tienen una tremenda oportunidad hoy.
and we have an opportunity now.
Okay. Okay. Stay with us. Thank you, Soledad. Our final speaker of this session is Benedict Langman. He's the Vice Mayor of the city of San Francisco in Pampanga, Philippines, yeah, and President of the Zero Waste Cities Network, Philippines. Okay, Benedict, as President of the Zero Waste Cities Network in the Philippines, what do you need to succeed from the Philippine Climate Change Commission and your government?
Yes, we're asking and urging the Philippine Climate Change Commission and the Philippine government to include and integrate zero waste in our NCAP, or the National Climate Action Plan, and the NDC, our nationally determined contribution at the national level, policy level, as well as to support the proposed bill for the Magna Carta of waste workers in the Philippines.
Right. And this, of course, is a critical time for these national climate plans, because governments are revising them upwards at the moment before the next UN climate conference in Brazil. So this is an important time. In your role as vice mayor, what can you do to inspire action in other cities?
Well, as a legislator, we encourage our counterparts globally, to our policymakers, to do our share in the local government by joining the city's methane pledge and committing to reduce methane emissions by at least 70% by 2030, by reducing, recovering, and addressing our organic waste
Right.
in our localities.
Yeah. The Philippines, as well as many other countries around the world, the problems of waste is highly visible. Yeah. But you have some successful zero waste projects in your communities. Could you tell us about this?
Yeah, in the city of San Fernando, through our community-led zero waste programs, we diverted closely to 89% of waste diversion every year, ending up in the landfills. And in effect, we are saving a significant amount of resources on our budget, and employed hundreds of waste workers. And the good thing is the city government is prompted not to pursue any incinerator projects or any what they call the WTEs in in our area in the Philippines.
Okay.
specifically.
Good. So we have some time left, which is good. And so we can maybe have a little conversation here. As delegates from GAIA here in Baku, are you getting access to your national delegations so you can say to them, you must, when you decide things in methane pledge meetings, include the role of waste pickers and their importance in this story, and funding? Do you get a chance to talk? Do you have a chance with the Tanzanians?
Yes, I do, and I actually speak with many countries in Africa. I also speak with the Brazilian government. I think it's extremely important to remember that when we are here, it's not just that we are representing ourselves. We are representing a lot of people that are in the communities doing the work and also suffering from the consequences of the climate crisis. And so we talk to our governments, and we have been asking the governments to include the methane reduction and the waste work in the NDCs, because that's going to be critical to be able to scale up all these amazing models that we have all described and that we all have.
I had a member of your government on a show yesterday. I'm trying to remember her name. Demweki. Anyway, she's maybe your key methane person in the government. She was very good, intelligent woman, fantastic. And I mean, do you have dialogue with her? She's here, she can make some decisions, yeah?
Yes, that's very correct. We actually have a pavilion, and I'm sure the person you talked about is the Director General of the
microphone nice
yeah,
up.
the Director General of the Climate Change Commission. We do have a pavilion. Day before yesterday, we had a side event, the same pavilion, where we engaged all the key stakeholders on this same subject matter.
Right.
Of course, we totally address the issue of the investments into the disparity in the investments into WTEs, which is running to almost about 94% compared to the waste sector, which is just 1%. We also highlighted how if Lagos, for example, is going to begin to embrace incineration, the problem with that is that there's going to be a kind of compromise. I mean, because incinerations will definitely compromise the recycling chain, life cycle approach to waste management. So we highlighted quite a lot of things, engaged with all the stakeholders to give them our point of view on why we think that the best approach would be to look at a community-led zero waste approach to addressing the enormous waste management, solid waste management challenges we have in Lagos. We understand it's overwhelming, but the best approach would be a community-led zero waste approach.
Because it's important to remember that the voice of Tanzania, Nigeria, Philippines, Chile, at the government level, can also bring more governments in to this, so it can be a multiplying effect. It depends on their ambition. Philippines, any relationship with the national government? And second question, what about these big city networks like ICLE and, well, C40 maybe is different, but there are these big global city networks too. Are you working with other cities outside the Philippines? And what is your government saying about your projects?
Well, in the local setting in the Philippines alone, we're starting this Zero Waste Cities Network Philippines, and we're trying to influence other cities in the country to go zero waste. And as far as for the international one, we're getting inspiration from them and somehow sharing our best practices with them also, as well. But this our first time to be part of COP29, to be part of this, and it's a good exposure for us. And I think after this, we will be the cities Zero Waste Network Philippines will sit down with the national government to discuss matters that pertains to methane, and hopefully the government will hear us and give us full support.
Yeah. Okay.
This one.
I know that you represent waste pickers in many countries, but you are from Chile. I will be interviewing your environment minister here tomorrow or Monday, maybe Monday, can't remember. What should I say to her on your behalf? But maybe you talk to her anyway. So, but she seems passionate about this topic.
Sí. Chile tiene una relación muy directa con los recicladores de base.
Chile has a very direct communications with waste pickers.
Pero es sumamente importante que se ocupen los financiamientos y los recursos de forma directa a los recicladores de base.
But it's important that they provide direct financing to waste pickers.
Que dignifiquen el oficio y que no termine siendo privado como lo han hecho en otros lugares.
That they dignify their jobs, unlike it has been made in other places.
Creo que lo más importante es que se den cuenta que nosotros estábamos haciendo esto hace mucho rato.
I think that the most important thing is that they notice that we have made this job for a long time.
Y hoy el escenario es positivo para los recicladores de base.
And today the scenario is positive for waste pickers.
Pero siempre y cuando nuestros estados se den cuenta que es positivo para nosotros.
But our governments needs to know that it's important for us.
Nosotros nacimos porque no teníamos que comer.
Our job was created because we didn't have anything to eat.
Y hoy estamos en este escenario tan importante y climático.
And today we're here.
Y por primera vez tenemos voz.
And for the first time we have a voice.
Queremos mantener la voz.
And we want to keep it.
Okay. So I'm going to ask one question to each one of you, and you have to try and give me one answer. Not 10. Okay, and the question is, what would be the fastest way of financing waste pickers? Would it be a carbon market in your country where they are paid for the methane they save? That's one idea. Or should it be directly employed by the city government on a fair wage? Tell me, what is the way to resource the waste pickers fast and in a fair way? Okay.
I would say that definitely not a carbon market.
Okay.
We need to make sure that waste pickers are recognized by the work that they do. So they need to actually be paid by the service. And the service is a public service that they have been offering to the country for free. So the country has the obligation to pay for that service,
Okay.
but not through carbon markets.
They should be waged employers on a decent wage.
Yes.
Okay.
In Nigeria, definitely as well, not through carbon market. Currently, the waste pickers in Nigeria are they are getting very well organized, but they are still very informal. So what we should be looking at is their formalization. Once they get formalized,
Okay.
then they will get organized.
From the
and get
informal
some-
to the formal sector.
Yes, from the informal to the formal.
Yeah, like what Soledad said, we need to dignify, to give dignity to waste workers for their safety, for their welfare, for
Yeah.
their livelihood.
Yeah.
And we need to support them on their day-to-day
Yeah.
job.
Because they are a member of the economy.
Yes, and
Exactly.
they're on the forefront of
Yeah.
addressing this concern
Yeah, yeah.
and the zero waste.
Okay. It's a simple question, but simple answers are better.
Reconocimiento,
Recognition,
dignificación,
dignify the work,
derechos humanos,
human rights,
derechos sociales,
social rights,
respeto.
respect.
Nosotros hacemos el trabajo.
We do the job.
Okay. It was one answer with 6 parts, 7 parts. Okay. Clever. And at the end of the year, a bonus from the carbon markets for all the methane that they are saving. Okay, we can agree on that.